Hi Jennifer, my name is Deb with Queerstrology and I'll be reading your natal chart today. I'm going to break into an intro and then we'll come right back to talk about your chart specifically. I want to start out by explaining to you how I look at astrology, and then I'm going to walk you through your entire chart and I will give you the overarching experience of what it is to read a chart, what each of the players are, and how they all work together. How I look at astrology is that it's not an exacting science, right? It's about intention and where you might have a speed bump or have more focus in something. So when we look at your chart overall, it's 360 degrees around. Everybody has all 12 signs. Everyone has all 12 houses. In Western Placidius style that I'm using here for this reading is the most commonly used. And what that means is that the signs are 30 degrees even all the way around. The houses can vary. In the middle of your chart, there are a bunch of numbers. If you look at the left, it starts there going counterclockwise all the way around 1 through 12. Those are the houses. You will see that they have lines going out from them. Whichever sign that dotted line hits going counterclockwise is the ruler of that house. Even if it's 1 degree, it doesn't matter. It still rules that house. Houses are the where things are happening. The signs are the attitude you're going to bring into that part of your life. Points and placements that are there, there's thousands and thousands, and we're not talking about all of those. We're just talking about a select few, the ones that people are most accustomed to discussing. They can bring an extra bit of focus. So as we go around, I will discuss all of those. The aspects, which I will discuss at the end, that is the relationship between those focus points, how they're getting along. We will walk through your chart from the beginning all the way around. Let's do this. Hey, welcome back. So we're going to start right here on the left side of your chart where it says ASC, which stands for Ascendant or Rising Sign. That represents the constellation that was on the horizon at the time of your birth. Your case, that's Sagittarius. Your first house is the house of self. It's your public filter. It's how people that don't know you as well might actually see you. Sagittarians are known for their experience and education and even their faith. Not only does Sagittarius rule your first house, it rules your entire chart. Creates this vein throughout the entire life path that is going to call back to Sagittarius. So you will always have a string of intellect and understanding and the need for experience throughout your entire life. Now you were going to come off as fiercely independent to other people. You're spontaneous, and you might even shock people because you're very giving, but you'll have these moments where you're like, okay, I've given too much and now I gotta stop and I need me time. People will almost be shocked by that. Like, what? Why do you need you time? You're so giving. What? Now you have 2 placements here, but they're in Capricorn, and Capricorn is more about efficiency and success. So now you have adventure and higher education with efficiency and success ruling over who you are as a person, the house of self. The 2 placements you have here are generational planets, meaning that they have an orbit that's 7 or more years. So most people that are within your age range are going to have this planet within that sign. Not necessarily in the first house though. So remember, these are going to reflect directly on you and yourself. The first one is the planet of Uranus, which is the planet of rebellion. It's a social planet. That means you are going to be an unconventional leader and you need freedom to think about the greater good in order to make yourself a better person. You have Neptune here, and Neptune is another generational planet, and it controls your dreams and the unseen. So you have this knack of knowing about what's going on within yourself when you want to focus on it and center on it. You're very dreamy, but it's about having that intuition and understanding of you as a person so that you can better understand other people. These 2 planets in Capricorn are also going to give you a bit of a daunting sense of responsibility behind your dreams and your rebellion. When we move to your second house, that's ruled by Capricorn, and it actually has the placement of Saturn there, which is natively ruled by Capricorn. In your second house of value, that means that you're going to value ambition. With Saturn there, that planet of restriction, because it's natively ruled by Capricorn, it gives you an increased value that you put on hard work. And that'll help you with this feeling that you have, like you feel like you have a false sense of security. Saturn won't let you not be successful there. Your third house of communication is ruled by Aquarius. Aquarius is very unconventional. Therefore, you're going to have very unconventional ways of thinking and communicating. It could also indicate that you're very good at communicating socially or within groups. Your fourth house of home is ruled by Pisces. Pisces is the oldest and wisest of the signs. It's also the dreamiest. So it means that you have high hopes and dreams about your home life, but you are going to relish in the unseen parts of it. And you're going to have this great sense of intuition and understanding in your domestic life and the people that are in it with you. Your fifth house of creativity is ruled by Aries. Aries is the youngest sign. It's urgent, and that is exactly how you create. You have a lot of urgent things that are coming in, a lot of stimulation. So you are probably one of those people that's a natural born leader and therefore delegator, meaning you can come up with these ideas and then pass it off to somebody else to work on it and create it so that you can just keep popping out these amazing ideas. Sixth house of service is ruled by Taurus. That means how you do your service is very slow, methodical, steady, but you will get the job done no matter how long it takes. But you have the planet of Mars here, and Mars is the planet of passion, your top energy, the things that you like to dominate. So you like to be dominant in your acts of service. So with the Taurus energy, you'll have kind of this, I'm going to get the job done. But with that Mars, also ruled by Aries, so that kind of energy coming in there, you might come off a little bit innocent, but you're an atomic bomb. And that atomic bomb power, it's just impatient energy, and it comes into your act of service. So you should probably be leading and not following. I also want to point out that the sixth house is the house of health, and it can point to things that you may have ill health in. For Taurus, that is your neck, mouth, jaw, throat, medulla, brainstem, the larynx, thyroid, the vagus nerve, and your vagoparasympathetic nerve system. The seventh house of relationships is ruled by Gemini. And I have to say that anytime that there is an air placement or an air sign ruler or anywhere in the seventh house, you're not cis. You might not be queer, but you're not cis. Because air signs are very flowy. And Gemini is an intellectual air sign. They like to learn about things, specifically through other people or by reading about it. So in your relationships, you probably will want to learn what relationships are. You've probably read relationship books. You need stimulation. You don't like to be bored. Geminis hate being bored. So you're going to need a very stimulating kind of relationship. Somebody that can keep up with you, but also doesn't care when you need to do something else for a while, because you'll be back. Your eighth house is the house of power and transformation. Ruled by Cancer means you are going to be transforming through deep emotional understanding. It also contains things like rebirth, death, the areas of taboo, sex. And you have two placements here, but they're in Leo. And Leo is going to bring you this creativity and loyalty to part of your power and transformation. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is here, meaning you will have expansion in the areas of the taboo, but specifically, you will be a human lie detector. Your intuition and understanding of people's bullshit is like bar none. That will help you transform and grow as a person and put you into your power. You also have the planet of Venus here, your bottom energy, what you want to surrender to. And you are looking for grand gestures of love and someone who brings a devoted connection. Your ninth house of adventure, higher education, and faith is ruled by Leo, which makes you intentional about your exploration, and you're going to lean towards educational types of adventures. You have a ninth house stellium, which is 3 or more points in a house or a sign, and it's going to give you extra focus, and in this case, towards your experiences and understanding. The points that you have here are the sun, which is still in Leo, and it's natively ruled by Leo. And the sun in Leo automatically gives you this golden presence. Imagine the fact that now you're putting that into your experiences, your higher education, and your faith. That's going to give you this thirst for knowledge, and you will grow from your experiences, especially your ego. The other two placements you have here are in Virgo. First placement here is your moon, and Virgo is of service. So you're going to want to be emotionally supportive and of service to others, especially when it comes to their experiences, their faith, or their education. You also have Mercury here, which is the planet of communication. That's going to mean you want to be as simple, you want to pare it down to as simple as possible to get to the actual meat, what you're trying to learn and what you're trying to experience. Your 10th house is where you'll see this MC here, or midheaven. Everybody's midheaven is on the cusp of their 10th house. It literally means middle sky. It's the apex of your chart. You were born, you've established your value and your communication, your home life, and you've done some of your shadow work. Now you are to the point where you are going to succeed. How? How should you succeed? Well, this helps understand that, because your midheaven, it talks about your career and ambition, and it can represent your accomplishments. So your midheaven is in Virgo, and that makes you very stable and practical and logical. So in your ambition, you will find that you will be drawn to those things. You might be a little bit too much into trying to perfect something. However, it comes from this place called IC, 180 degrees down on the cusp of the 4th house, the cusp of your home, your base, your roots. Well, that's Pisces. So your roots come from emotional, imaginative, but repressed area. So now, in order to not be repressed, you are going to organize and make sure that what needs to get out gets out. Again, watch out for trying to overly perfect it. Your 11th house of socialization is ruled by Libra, which means you're going to prefer educated ideals when it comes to collaboration. You have the generational planet of Pluto here, which is the planet of transformation. It's going to give you this refined understanding of how you fit into helping lead humanity towards transforming itself. Your 12th house is your subconscious. Yours is ruled by Scorpio. That means that you have the ability to predict things that are unseen. Scorpios are masters at rebirth and transformation, so you can see things coming before they even get here already. Add the intuition of that house. You're pretty psychic, probably. You probably just happen to know things, right? Okay, so aspects. I'm going to break into a little mini intro and then we'll get to it. Now, I want to talk about your aspects. I'm not going to talk about every single one of them, but I want to give you an indication of what they mean and how you can find out more information about them if you want to. Aspects are the relationship between points. It's how they interact with each other. Now, you want to look up any of these. Natal, Natal, because there are natal and there are transit. If it's in your chart, that's natal. You can find out more in-depth information on any of these that you're curious about. So conjunction is 0 to 10 degrees. It means that they are right next to each other. They are blended together. You can take the notes that I put up at the top for each of these, where it says conjunction, 0 degree, same sign, blending energy. And you can take the attitudes or like the keywords for the points, and you can just say it. Example, Moon conjunction Mercury would be emotions are blended with communication. You probably have a very active home life. And then your communication is blended with your public standing, an MC, then that is superior intelligence. Now, I will go through and talk at least a little bit about each of these. I'm not going to talk about every single one of them, but I will touch at least on one of them and give you an idea of how you can read them. So you can read your chart, add more points and read them, or if you look deeper into your chart at all, more aspects will pop up. And now you'll know how to read them. Sextile is 60 degrees apart, 2-ish signs or so. They're cooperative, they're besties. They're like holding hands, skipping down the street, totally independent, but love to be around each other, love to interact with each other. So in this case, if we look at the top one, your emotions are besties with your transformation. Now, when we go to something like square is 90 degrees. They are literally squared up to each other. They're not best friends. They don't like what the other one's doing and they're kind of upset about it. Point is, as an example, knowing that your sun or your ego is in conflict with your passion you have feisty energy. That's because you're having this inner battle. So understanding that about yourself doesn't mean you should change it. It just means that you know that it's there so you can address it if other people see it. Trine is 120 degrees. They're in the same element, flow well together. I like to compare it to the group NSYNC, whereas it's like a boy band. So they're all totally independent people. They don't hang out with each other or anything, but they have a job to do. And when they do, they get together and they do it. And you have a grand trine, which I will talk more about here in a moment. Moon trine Saturn is emotions flowing well with your restriction. This solid foundation where your emotions aren't so flighty. It's going to restrict them how they need to be restricted. You don't have any oppositions, as I told you via email. That's fairly common. A lot of people don't have oppositions. It simply means that you have points 180 degrees from each other, and you do, just not maybe in these top ones that we happen to be looking at. But what it means is that they push and pull each other. So similar to square where they can see each other, but in this case, they want to watch. They're a little bit voyeuristic, if you will, because they're watching because they want to beat them. And it becomes this friendly competition where one is trying to outdo the other. So when, as an example, if your emotions are doing something and your passion sees it, your passion is going to be like, I can do that. And then they'll kind of feed off each other and make each other better, pushing and pulling each other. You have two patterns. So grand trines show either your hidden talent that you can really expand upon, or it's something that you could waste. It's important to grab onto the power of your grand trine. And in your case, it's an earth grand trine, which means structure is an important thing. So if you have a lot of great structure, that's good. That means you're in the flow of your grand trine. Now, you also have something that's called a kite, but that is simply a grand trine with a fourth point, and that apex point is actually your destiny, or indicates your destiny. So in your case, it happens to be Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion. So you had mentioned that you might want to open a bunch, like you already have some businesses and you're thinking about opening some other ones. Yeah, it looks like that's what you should do. You should just keep expanding. Anything you feel like expands you as a person or your career or any of that, you should definitely go for it. So that's all for now. Please let me know if you have any additional questions, and I hope this finds you well. Cheers.